All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Reaper Pro-Tips with myself and my giant Nami monster, Kiki, and our disembodied hands, Quindy. Let's not forget Queen Quindy, right, Kiki? Right. And then Justin and John, who are not as adorable as Kiki, but who also don't try to eat my face. Hi there, you silly beast. Hey, quit being a beast. Quit being a beast. Hey. Yeah, you. Off. All right, eviction. Let's go. Good girl. All right. I want you to be good, okay? And you tell me if you have to go, all right? She's, we're waiting on lab results right now, so she's still prone to explosions. So I may have to run at some point during the stream, Quindy. Just so you know, I may have to take a sabbatical and clean up after her or run her outside. No, she's not, Agent Marble. She's not. She just is eating this morning, so she has all her energy. I took a sample in yesterday, and they had to send it out. I don't know what it is with this vet, but they have to send everything out. They don't have an in-house lab, which really, considering how like swanky their building is kind of surprises me. But yeah, so I have to wait. So I'm going to call them after stream if they don't call me, and find out where we are, because they should have results by the end of stream, I would hope. Pardon me, just getting some stuff cleared off the deck here. Grabbed a whole bunch of things yesterday, and now I do not need them sitting around here. But yeah, good morning. Yeah, the pupper still has a sad butt. John and Jester are almost as furry as the Geekster. I did not need that image, Turgeon. All right. Blonde hair. Yeah, I did not need that image. Neither did Quindy, right? Yeah, we don't need those images. We depend on, no. Oh, okay. So Malcolm gets to go in and get checked out. Make sure that he hasn't totally, like, ripped out his stitches and stuff, huh? Yeah. I bet the only good thing about all this with Kiki has been that I was wanting to take her in anyway regularly to the vet before her next appointment to get her more accustomed to the place, and it's working. So, I mean, I've been taking her with me when I drop off her sample and when I go to do, when I go to pick up meds today, because I assume there's going to be meds, then I'll take her as well. So, but I think she's still going to be wary of the vet. I mean, it's just a thing, right? Dogs learn it. I'm going to put these two back. Man, I cluttered up my desk like crazy yesterday. It's a wonder we got anything done. Insane. So much insanity. And succubus kiss, right. You go there. All right. We're cleansed. More or less, we're cleansed. Well, as cleansed as we're going to get anyway. There we go. But yeah, so the Keekster is still under the weather, although David, being a prince, this is why I married the man, when I started to haul my butt out of bed early this morning to take her outside, actually stopped me, and he got out of bed and took her outside. Though he did not manage to keep her from jumping on the bed when she came back in, and I had to help him put her away. But still, this is the man I married. Like, no, honey, you haven't been getting good sleep. Go back to sleep. I'll take the dog out at 6 a.m. Your dogs love the vet. Kiki likes the vet. She just doesn't want them to actually put hands on her and make her do anything. Like, I think, like, and this vet is very dog savvy, and she says that Kiki's really sensitive to social pressure. So if there's more than one person kind of impinging on her, she, like, gets really, like, doesn't like it and tries to back out of it, which makes it pretty hellish to try to get, you know, like, how are we going to draw blood? How are we going to do this? Probably going to have to sedate her when we do it. It's like, you've got two roads these days, right? You can either force your animal to do it, and they just, you know, and some animals will just do it because they're, like, so intimidated, or they're, like, so oblivious that they'll just stand for anything, right? Or in, like, Kiri would do it because I asked her to. Like, she was that kind of dog. She was that classic shepherd that you always hear about, where you get a really strong bond, and you could ask that dog to walk into Hades with you, and she would, right? Because you asked her. Like, that was what I still miss with Kiri. But Kiki is not that. Kiki is definitely Very self-aware and very aware of all the stuff. And yeah, Jason Weeby stopped by yesterday, Green Users. You missed each other. It's been a while, too, since we saw you. But yeah, Mr. Weeby came on, I assume, to sneak a sneak peek at Fishy, since we were painting him yesterday. He stopped by. He didn't tell me who he was until the end of the stream, and then he scampered off. Alrighty. Let's see here. What do I want to do today? We're doing the white before, but we didn't quite get to the feather. I got the shading on the feather, but I didn't get anything else. I think I want to kind of get that creamy. I'm going to grab my Osirian sand and get some of that white in there for the feather. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, but my really snuggly cat also chose violence and needed to be sedated at the vet. So maybe it's like the snuggle cats that are like, they're cool with you, but like anybody else is Satan or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, the nails are off limits. Right. Yep. Yeah, we've been, and it's funny, isn't it? Because they're like, oh, you just need to desensitize your dog. And that's so much BS. You can work, we've worked with Kiki on nails since she was a baby puppy. What are you woofing at? What's up? Do you need to go outside? Are you telling me? All right. I'm going to take Kiki outside just for a moment. And when we return, we'll work on the feather on this dude and probably on his hair. Kiki has not, but she also hasn't let the vet actually do what we need to do, which is do a blood draw, Pendrake. So we might have to sedate her. We'll find out. Hold on. I'm going to let her out for a sec. Hey, Bob, you need to go outside? Okay, let's go. Let's go. You said you needed to go outside. Let's go. All right, now settle down, Mizzy. Settle down, okay? Almost got to work. False alarm. I think it was the squirrels, the roof bombing squirrels or something. Who knows? It was Kiki. Yeah. But no, yeah, Pendrake, that's the thing with, like, these days, like, some dog people's philosophy is, like, you just gotta make them do it, and they gotta learn they can't not do it. But a lot of people are, like, not, they'd rather have the dog, be calmer and not freaking out, which is fair. This vet is the type of vet that will sedate. So she's like, yeah, I've had a dog. My last dog needed to be sedated to have anything like needles or crap done to them. But Kiki is, like, fine having shots, so... So, yeah. So, it's like, Kiki has her things that she'll allow. Like, if you distract her, she'll totally be okay for a shot. Or at least in the past she has. But yeah, I think it was just that... I think the Holter monitor thing might have really put the fear of vets into her. Because the vet techs who shaved her were kind of clueless. And that was a big to-do. So, we'll see. We'll see. Pigeon having a fight in the skylight. That's funny. Or on the skylight. Yeah, I bet the cats wanted to join in. Alright. I was using an orangey brown for shading. I think I'll put some, just some black markings on this feather too. I don't want to make it an accent color. I just want it to be kind of neutral. But I do want a little bit of definition. So I'm going to grab little bit of orange brown and put a little bit of oxide in it to get my shadow. And of course, it's going to be one of those cloggy days. We are about to enter in into a week of rain here, this is a crazy wet winter for us. And I get to overseed our lawn. I decided I was going to do it myself. Because if we asked like our lawn service to do it, they would charge us like $200 for it or more. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. So I got myself the cutest little handheld spreader ever. And now I need to get some dirt. And I have grass seed. She doesn't even like people getting close to her anywhere now. Like, she used to be fine with a vet tech, like, coming and doing a shot, but... Yeah, so, I mean, it's good because it's refilling our aquifers, and that's why they're still saying we're in a drought out here, by the way. So we're all floating, but they're going to say we're in a drought anyway. Because, you know, they're like, but the aquifers are still low. And it's like, well, the aquifers are going to stay low. It's not going to be like... It would take years to refill the aquifers. So it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean we are in a drought proper, but, you know, it is all spinning. They're spinning it. But yes, we're very wet this winter. Very wet. Which is good. It's good that it's, I mean, it's bad because dog prints all over the floor, but it's good because we needed it, so... I think I want a little bit more brown in that. I'm just using orange, the brown orange this time, but I want to darken it just a little. This is just my shadow. I'm just remixing something that's close. A little bit of russet brown takes it right down. And then I'll get that white. Yeah, it's been pretty wet in Arizona too, where my parents are in Sun Lakes, Julie. Mom was sad because it wasn't as warm as she would have liked for the winter. Although it did get up to the 70s when I was there, the weekend I was there, and oh my gosh, that was glorious. I can't wait until it's 70 again. Man, so glorious. Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I hear it. The snowpack, yep. Yeah, we should. I mean, it's been great skiing this winter around here. David has been kind of not really, but like, maybe I need to go skiing one more time. But then he doesn't want to go. I'm like, well, go drive, go ski, you know. But I think we've traveled enough this winter that he's just like, maybe not. Plus, since I don't go with him, me and the Kiki don't go with him, and he's all alone. And back when he was a bachelor, being all alone wasn't anything for him to be concerned about. But now he's used to having us around, and I think he misses us when he goes away. All right, now I'm going to use brown liner for the feather markings, I think. No, subterranean aquifers are where we pull a lot of our water from, Pendrake. The agriculture in California comes a lot from drilled wells. We also measure reservoir level, because we do have reservoirs for sure, but the big thing that is everybody so concerned in California is that we're depleting aquifers. And eventually the water's going to run out. And then where are we? I kind of, myself, I'm kind of privately thought that California, if they're really worried about this, needs to start putting in infrastructure in place like Arizona has, where they're recycling water and are, essentially planning to be a desert at some point, because part of the state is very deserty anyway. But I don't think that's on anybody's, any politician's radar, so. You can kiss back to let us goodbye when that happens. Yeah, see, I'm just like, yeah, this opens up a whole can of worms. Whole can of worms. But anyway, apart from worms. Yeah, well, we have a lot of, like, in our area, there's an awful lot of, like, desert landscaping already. Like, our front yard is all desert except for, like, 2 little trees. One big tree, but that we don't even water that tree. Like, it's deep, it's old enough and its roots go deep enough that it doesn't need extra water. Shadow Raven. Because it's spring here, the trees are all budding out and the cherry blossoms are out. We have a lot of cherry blossoms around this area. I actually really love it. I'm going to go a little darker with this. I accidentally thinned my liner a bit too much, so I want it to be a little more solid. Hey there, Kodiak. But yeah, I want warm weather. I was so, man, when in Arizona, when I was driving back through the hills and I could roll down the window and be in my t-shirt. Oh my God. Yeah, it was glorious. It was so glorious. It made me feel so good. Like, I'm just a warm weather person. I love hot weather so much and I hate cold. And it just it revigorates me to have the warmth. All right, so we've got our colors here. We're going to work on our little feather here, and I'll probably get some pure white also for the final touches on this guy. So we're just going to push this back here, get out of our camera way, and let's get get focused in here on our dude. Thicker rain. That would be really good, Twistedoma. Yeah, fountain. I mean, you'd think that fountains could be utilized that way, right? Fountain base. All right, so I want to use some of this with my orange brown, some of this liner with my orange brown to do a little bit of subtle shading down the center quill here, because I want it to show up a little bit better. So it's like building kind of an orange brown liner using the thinned orange brown plus the liner. And if I get too dark, it's not a big deal because I can always glaze the white over it. So when in doubt, just go darker. You can always paint over it. See, that'll bring that quill out very nicely. Hey, Dabber. Yeah, I know a lot of you are still in the winter. This is why I moved away from Wisconsin. Like, it really is. I mean, I guess Reaper was the reason, but really, I just wanted to go someplace warm. There we go. Throw in a little more. Throwing shade, haha, on that part of the feather. So despite sleep deprivation, yesterday I managed to get the editing all done on my novella that I wrote for my mailing list. So that was a huge thing that I needed to get done, that I got done. And today I have to finish my proof edits that I made note of, and now I need to actually execute on them. And we're getting closer and closer to having the book out next week, guys. Like, after I get, those are really the big things. Like, the big things are editing takes a long time and a lot of concentration. And then, and so editing the novella and making sure that it makes sense, and then editing the novel, finishing the edits on the novel. They're about 2/3 of the way done. Oh, yuck. Yeah, Inara. Yep. Yeah, I know that well from Texas. Yeah, because Texas destroyed. That's why I lost all my bonsai eventually. Was Texas the switch from like 75 degrees to like 32 degrees? It just would shock all my plants. It would go like crazy fast, and all my plants just gave up eventually. Whereas here in this area, I can have things like herb gardens, and the insects don't eat all of it, which is insane. Because in Texas, you bet the insects would be like, they'd be gone. Everything would be gone. Yeah, Thormel, exactly. Hey, Lizana, how's it going? I am going back and forth on shading this feather. I want to give it a little bit more depth. Hopefully the papa's doing good and not making accidents in the other room. Poor girl. I really can't wait to get her on meds. I'm willing to bet at this point it's coccidia or something very close to it. Seems exactly like the stuff she had when she was a baby. So we're just kind of concentrating a little bit now on the feather bits, yeah. Oh yeah, Nara. Yeah, that is the problem with bonsai, because you've gotta water them. Yeah, it's kind of why I haven't gone back into them. I'm like, I could totally do Japanese maples in this climate, and it's so tempting. I think I'm gonna get myself a lace leaf maple for I had a curry tree in a big pot, and the winter killed it. It lived right up to the end, and then it finally just went under when the last time we started getting a ton of rain. So I'm looking at that big pot, and I'm like, I could put a little maple in there, but I don't. I'm going to keep it in a deep pot, not a shallow one. So I'm going to make a band of just dark here. And then another band of dark, just to give it some interest back here. Okay, so that's nice. That actually looks very nice. With the stripes look really nice with all that shading in there. So let's go and make sure we get the back of them as well. I'm sorry, Shadow Raven. Yeah, that might work, Twisted Oma. That sounds really good. Try it out and let me know if it works. I always kind of thought about doing that. We had an older fountain that was cracked. That was just like a cascade over, synthetic rocks. And I did wonder if I could repurpose it into a planter, a self-watering planter. There we go. So a little bit of bands. That's nice. And then if we really want to, we could do a little more, but I think I like those two bands. I like how that looks. I don't want to put another band on there. I think I like it there. That's pretty snazzy, actually. Yeah, well, once the aquifers run out, as Big Chimpo was saying, I'll just have to start a lettuce garden of my very own. All right, now I'm going to take my off-white and I'm just going to highlight a little bit on some of these quills. Bring back the texture just a little. The back looks really good. I like this, how this looks. There it is. Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry, Shadow Raven. Sometimes Switch should be like that. You gonna settle, Pa? Papa? I'm just keeping an eye on her. Yeah, I'm streaming. You just checking up? If she keeps being restless, I'll take her out again. It's a rainy day here today. And we're supposed to have many more days of it. Like the coming week, I think, is like 6 out of 7 days of rain. So I thought that I would, maybe I would seed, I would do my overseed on my lawn. And that way it'll rain every day and water it. Because lazy. Otherwise, I'd have to water it every day. Kiki has done a number on our lawn in the course of her puppyhood, so that's why I'm talking about overseeding it. There we go. Yeah, that looks really nice on the back there. Yeah, silly Twitch. It has been twitchy lately, apparently. I haven't been watching much, although I've been watching a little bit Overwatch World Cup, but that's at night, so don't know that it suffers from the same maladies, and it's all VODs anyway. There we go. So a little bit there, and that's looking okay. I feel like I need a little bit better of a blend in there and a little bit more contrast on the other side too. But yeah, it's kind of weird that I'm actually like, I'm only like a few steps away from publishing my book finally after talking to you guys about it for so long. So few steps. Not once the big stuff, once this edit is done. It's been so much work, guys. You have no idea. Some of you may have some idea. There we go. I think that looks okay. I think I want a little bit of a warmer shadow in here. I'm actually pretty psyched to get back to the second book, working on the second book. All right, I want some lining. I've got a little bit of the feather color that got onto the hat there, so I want to line a bit. Yeah, the only reason I haven't set a firm publication date is that just my experience with this process so far has, I'm afraid to set a date and then something weird comes up that I have to learn how to do, like yet another thing that I have to learn how to do, and that I miss the date. I don't want to do that to you guys, so it'll be published when it is published, and you will know right away when it is. You guys get to know first. Then my Patreon will get told eventually. Probably the day after I tell you. And some of you are patrons anyway, but... It's actually not. The one on Fishy is a loop, and then there's an eyelet with a middle, and then another loop. And these are actually more like little harp, like little S's with diamond with chevrons between them. So it's slightly different. But I mean, this kind of pattern is really close. I mean, it's something you see on tooled leather all the time, Polly. So yeah. Well, yeah, that's when nuts are all water intensive, Pendrake. And yeah, that's what I was kind of talking about when I said let's try to be more like Arizona. let's do strategies that involve us, doing things. But desalination is very expensive, so you'd have to have an emergency. It's like, I don't expect California to look into desalination until they're really desperate, at which point they're going to kick themselves for not doing it sooner. That's the way it works. Sadly, we humans are motivated more by emergencies than, the distant future, or the not so distant future. There we go. Now we have a nice stripy hat. I feel like I need a little bit of highlighting. More highlighting. Now I can hear the rain. It's not supposed to do this. It's supposed to wait. It was originally supposed to hold off till noon so that Paul and I could have our walk. But it's definitely not doing that. I want to see a light on the top there. Shadow on the underside. Yeah, quite big rain. Oh, we actually had hail this weekend, guys. I forgot to tell you. That's insane. I've never seen hail out here. It was tiny hail, but it was still hail. I haven't seen hail since I was in Texas. I was like, oh, hail. Oh my gosh. I didn't even know it was a thing out here. There, a little bit of shading between the bits of feather. Just so we can bring out a little detail. And now I'm going to get some white. And I am going to actually put a little bit of detail in the dark parts of the feathers. I'm going to mix a gray using my brown liner and my off-white. And just get a little bit of highlighting here. Yeah, it was tiny baby hail. It was cute. Not real hail. I showed you guys my photo of the monster hail. Like, people did not believe me. I knew people wouldn't believe me, and so I took a picture of the hailstones so that You dubbed it small. Yes. I don't remember what year it was in Texas, but it was bigger than golf balls. Like, it was crazy talk hail. Like, maybe I should see if I can find it. It's the biggest hail we had in Texas while I lived there for my 17 years. That looks good from above, don't you think? Yeah, giant hail. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I can find it. If I can find it super fast, it's gonna be near the front of my photo reel. Oh, there it is. I found it. Wow, I found it perfectly. I thought 2016 or 2017. There's my Overwatch mouse for comparison. Those are some of the nicest ones I got. Yeah, this is Texas hail. This is the biggest Texas hail I ever had. Yeah, I'm sure the record is softball, but I'm kind of glad we didn't have that because it would have shattered glass. And this shattered glass in cars as it was. Somebody at Reaper, I can't remember who at Reaper lost their rear window. I think it was maybe Melissa. But somebody at Reaper lost their rear window. The element actually took most of the brunt of it, like, on its roof, so it wasn't, like, visible. So a lot of it was the front hood had a couple of divots. But my element got lucky. Like, And a lot of the glass on the Element is really steep. Like, you know, I don't have a slanted back window, and the hail was coming from that direction. So because my back window is vertical on the Element, it didn't hurt any glass. So yeah, so this is the most insane hail that we ever had in Texas when I was there. So there you go. I'm just shocked that I found it instantly. Like, that was great. So happy. Oh, hey, and it's my favorite picture of Kiki's grandma. This is when storms were running through Oklahoma when Bridget had the farm. Isn't that a great photo? Probably my favorite photo that Bridget has taken of her dogs, actually. That's when we're having a really stormy, and Oklahoma gets hit harder by storms than we do. They get more tornadoes, but it's a fantastic photo. So yeah, that's Kiki's grandma. Yeah, big sky. Like, they say big sky Montana, but Oklahoma has some big sky. All right, there we go. So there's your photo op today. But yeah, that's Nova. Kiki has that reddish color too. She's not golden like Nova, she's brown. So hers is darker, but she's got all that reddish color over her ears too. All right, I think that does our white. Oh, I was going to mix up a little bit of a brighter white, wasn't I? Yeah, let's do that. Where's my pure white? Just put some little bit. Yeah, I never knew why Bridget didn't use that photo more, like, on her website and stuff, because I think it's a glorious photo. Like, sure you can't see the face of the dog, but it's still a beautiful photo. So I saved it. Maybe I'll use it. I'll use it in Kiki's family galleries. But again, like, Oklahoma kind of traumatized Bridget, so maybe she's back in North Dakota now, so maybe she just doesn't want to remember Oklahoma, which I wouldn't blame her. There was a nasty tornado that ripped through while she was there, and friends ended up homeless, and it was crazy. It got real close to their place. So much trauma. I imagine that sort of thing is super PTSD producing. I have been lucky and not been that close to I've never been in a near-miss tornado situation. Although there were plenty of, like, close ones in the various places I have lived, but there we go. So we'll just do a little touch up here. And I want to just use this white to get a little bit more highlight in there. A little bit more highlight up here. Looking good. So we can see that the light is stronger up here. I'll just try to touch this one just a little bit. There. Yeah, I really like how this looks on the back. Oh. Yeah, I know, that's pretty scary stuff. Tornadoes are the natural disaster I've always lived closest to. Wisconsin, that was the only extreme weather other than, like, blizzards and stuff, but we didn't have, like, those never seemed quite as crazy. We had thunderstorms and we had tornadoes. And then Texas, of course, tornadoes. And severe thunderstorms, too, but as far as, like, super destructive weather, it was the tornadoes. Yeah. Which is a shame because I like Norman is kind of has some cool shops in it. I used to stop at Norman on my way back to Wisconsin from Texas. They had a good, really good used bookstore. But yeah, it is a hot spot, and it has had some nasty tornadoes come through. All right, a little bit of a highlight there. Yeah, I think our whites are looking really good now. Or off whites, or creamy whites. Just doing a little bit of highlighting up on the high points. And I think it's time to get on to... I do kind of want to get the gold going on. Because I feel like we're at that point. And I've got some browns here that I can use for shading. So let me grab. I was using rich leather, I can tell, because that's a much lighter color. What yellow should we use? Torchlight? Sun yellow? Can make NMM yellow out of anything these days. Let's see here. Torchlight and sun yellow are really close anyway. Torchlight's a little bit more orangey, a little darker. I think it's got a little bit of ochre in it, oxide in it. Let's use Torchlight. No, I never had time to really stop and eat much Pendrake, but I did make a point of stopping at the used bookstore and record store because I found some books there that I'd been actually looking for a while. So whenever I had time, I didn't stop and eat, but I stopped and perused briefly their science fiction and fantasy section. That is pretty much like me in a nutshell, like stopping, like same thing with the Milwaukee airport. Like I fly into Milwaukee when I can because it's easier when I'm visiting my folks in Bristol. It's an easier drive for them than making them go down to O'Hare. But the other reason to stop to go through Milwaukee airport is that it has a great used bookstore and has for ages. Like its bookstore for the airport is a used bookstore. And it's got a pretty big footprint, and it's been there forever. I always enjoy going in there. I'm always kind of like got half an eye out for books like old sci-fi and fantasy that I read as a kid with the covers that I remember from having as a kid. So these days I could go on eBay and probably, or Amazon even, and find some of those, but I always like patronizing the used bookstores of the world. All right, so mixing up the colors. We got that. No, it's not the same experience. It's always fun to just go and browse around in used bookstores. But when I'm like right now, I'm missing one of the Harper Hall trilogy from Anne McCaffrey in the original cover that I had when I was a kid. And so if I'm being that selective, like I probably should just go on eBay and see if I can get it. I don't like the style of covers nowadays. Like it's like New York is like, I like the style of covers when they got actual art to put on them. And not the current today style of cover where it's like just stylized, or that is totally why I paid to get art put on my cover, by the way. Because I really don't like the minimalist look on current day covers. Like, whose covers was I? I was just looking at Neil Gaiman's new covers. I'm like, what? Really? Like, not that Neil ever had, like, super, like, illustrative covers, but now they're, like, super minimalist watercolor schmears, and I just was not into it. I'm an art snob. Miniatures have made me an art snob, guys. All right, now I want to mix that darker. So I'm going to take my orange brown, and now that I don't need it as a shadow for the white, I'm going to actually take it and throw some blackened brown in it, which is going to throw it a lot darker because I wanted to use it as a shadow on the gold. So yes, I'm going to repurpose a color that I already have on my palette to be a totally different color for my NMM gold because I'm lazy and I don't want to mix up a new color. Or because I'm like showing off the fact that I can. But you can always do this. Like, remember that browns are just muted oranges. So if you've got a brownie orange, you can turn it into a darker brown with minimal effort. See, look, beautiful brown. And all it took was a couple drops of blackened brown. I wouldn't have used russet there because it wouldn't have taken it so dark. Blackened has more black, but it also has a heavy load of brown oxide that is going to help it create this warm, rich brown. Okay. Yeah, pie of the month is something I do not need. I was so stressed out by Kiki being sick yesterday that I ate a pastry. Like, that's when I'm in the depths of despair, when I'm like low on sleep because my puppy has been sick and I'm worried about her and I can't do anything because I've already done everything I can, drop off the sample at the vet and wait. So stress eating kicked in and I ate a pastry. It was worth it. It was worth it. The pastry was worth it. So this is an interesting border in that it is a triple. So you can see that there are three lines. It's got a raised section in the middle. I'm going to ignore that until I get to highlights. I may shade a bit. All my shading and highlighting is going to be across the board, and I'm not going to pay attention to the detail. Once we get up to our paler yellow highlight, then I will start bringing out those details. Yeah. Yeah, the problem, Quindy, is that we have an amazing local bakery. Like, this was actually, I laugh, but this is one of the things that I put on my list of what we must have near David's new house, right? When we were shopping around for a house. Because one of his, like, favorite things to do when I was to walk down to, when we lived downtown, he would just walk down to Castro Street, and there's like 3 or 4 bakeries and 2 patisseries. So he could always get himself a really nice, really fancy Danish or Queen Amman or, you know, whatever for Saturday breakfast on the weekends. And so when we moved here, now we have a place called Midwife and Baker. The Midwife and the Baker, and they are really good. And right now, and all of their stuff is seasonal, so their flavors rotate depending on seasonal. And right now, their Danish is a coconut crumble, pineapple curd Danish. So it's coconut crumble, like around the outside of the well and a little bit over the top of the pastry. And then it's got pineapple curd with chunks of pineapple that's so creamy and decadent in the middle. It is amazing. Amazing. If I could just virtually zap you guys, each one, like right now, I would, because it's not to be missed. I love pineapple and coconut, given some of you are probably not coconut fans. The coconut is subtle, though. It's more it's more of a texture because it's a toasted coconut crumble. So it's very, very good. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, Norman is in Oklahoma. That's why I used to drive through there on my way back to Wisconsin from Texas. Yeah, it's an amazing Danish. They had a more traditional apple crumble one for the last one, which I love apple pie, and it tasted like the best ever apple pie. So that was always very tempting. Although I like their apple scone, they had an apple cranberry scone that I liked a little bit better. But yeah, the Danish wins this time. I'm a scone fan, but the Danish wins this time. Because I think they're Danish right now. I don't remember what they changed it to, but it just doesn't have a strong enough flavor for me. So I'm like, I wish they'd do a lemon one. Like a really nice, strong lemony scone would be really good. They do orange. Like during the summer, they usually do an orange, orange with bits of candied orange in it, and a like crystallized sugar topping. It's pretty nice. Sorry if I'm making people hungry. So then I take my highlight, and that's when I'm gonna start getting those 3 lines after I've got this blended shadow in there. Oh yeah, yep, the shoe. Yeah. These days I'm watching a lot of shoe, it seems like, because we're watching the professionals bake off just a little bit at a time every week. And it seems like they're doing a lot with shoe, and so it just makes me kind of want to try to make shoe sometime. I like eclairs, so that's probably my closest, like, thing I like that has to do with shoe. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Bring that down a little bit. Eating shoe dough. That's funny, Big Jimbo. Yeah, it's made to like make kids giggle, right? So I decided I could have done many smaller shadows, but I decided to just do more of a long shadow here. If you do more broken up patterns of light and dark, it tends to make things look shinier, and really with the trim here, I didn't really want that. It's more like I wanted like an epaulette would be, like where it's like gold colored cloth, and then it has maybe little bits of gold thread in it, shiny thread in it. Ah, apple pie shoe. Yeah, see, apple's really my thing. I still remember the homemade applesauce I made for when David's parents were here for Christmas, and I'm like, I should make more of that. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. But yeah, the Danish attacked yesterday. So you can see those 3 lines there that I'm putting in, making sure that I emphasize now. And I'll do the same down here, where I'll try to just hit that bit of detail. And it usually takes the pale yellow. That's where I'm going to be able to bring out that detail. Everything else blends in too well. Yeah, it's definitely, for me, it's definitely an emotional boost. Since I normally stick pretty religiously to the low carb, but I am a stress eater, and when I stress eat, it's that sort of thing that can get me. So that or chocolate. But chocolate was not doing it yesterday. Like, I could just tell that chocolate was not going to be the thing that I most needed. So yeah. Off to the bakery. Oh well. That's my big thing. That's my big derailer, my diet derailer. I'd probably weigh a lot less right now if I wasn't a stress eater. But, I manage it as well as I can. I'm still 65 pounds lighter than I was before the keto, so can't really call it a loss. There we go. So yeah, there we are. And, David loves me either way, so. He doesn't care if I get a little fluffy. He's not fat, he's fluffy. Yeah. If I get a little fluffy, it's okay. It's okay for him. I don't know. I get grumpy at myself, but there we go. I'm a little bit sleep deprived today too, but I'm clinging to my sanity until we can get Kiki some meds. Like, I'm just like, the minute that I can give Kiki meds, all of the stress will deflate and I can maybe take a nap. So you can just bring it up that little bit. And you want that alternation of dark and light. Yeah, that, you know what? I do that same thing, Kodiak. Like, when last time I had, like, gastric upset, I was just like, you know what? May as well just use this to kick it off. You already are losing so much water weight, you know, when you cut your calories back and you can't eat. And then you're losing actual weight, so you may as well keep it going. Well, good luck. Good fortune. I wish you good fortune in your weight loss journey. Everybody's different. That's what I've learned over the years. I've actually started jogging a little bit at night. Like, I started it when I started getting stressed out about Kiki being sick. I used to do a walk and jog kind of routine, and I kind of fell out of it. But when I moved, like right around when COVID hit and everything, I'd been out of it for a while. But I like my cardio fitness, and my resting heart rate is a lot lower when I do it. So I got new running shoes. I ordered them this morning. I always like the Nike Pegasus. New running shoes make me feel like I need to walk more, so I'll wait until all of our rain is over and then I'll inaugurate the new running shoes. I'm sorry you were sick for 5 days though, Kodiak. That's really rough. I've been in that boat. It's not a fun boat. The only fun thing about it was that I got to make myself grilled cheese sandwiches because it was like one of the few things my stomach would tolerate. And that's like a little kid vibe for me, so it's like got that nostalgia food thing going on. Couldn't really do low carb when you have to eat bland food. I got to have popsicles too. So, you know, look on the bright side. Always look on the bright side of life. There we go. So just bringing that in. And again, we're trying to vary it. We've got less space here, so it's less easy to do a long, graceful blend like that. You've got to kind of truncate it. That's all right, though. You can do that. Just need to keep the very center of it darker. I was pretty happy. I found, I usually make a pork loin roast in the wintertime, and I hadn't made one because I hadn't seen a good one. It seems like they're trimming the fat cap off of them more and more, and it's like you need the fat cap to keep them moist. But I found a really glorious one at the store the other day with a beautiful fat cap on it, and so I'm like, I'm going to make a pork loin roast, so I need to season that today so that I can have it be tasty. I learned that when you're dealing with big pieces of pork, like, it's so important to salt them and leave them for like 2 days in it. Like, do a dry brine, essentially. That's what they call it for turkey, but it makes the pork so much better. Like, crazy much better. Yeah, Well, you can ease. I always ease into it because I'm, Karniko, because I'm like my hip, tends to have issues. But if I start very, very slow jog with just barely lifting my feet above the ground, so I'm not jarring my hip a lot, and then I just do a little bit of that and then walk, and then a little bit of that and then walk, I can ease back into it. And that way, if you're paying attention to your body, you're going to spot it if it starts to tell you no, right? At least that's what I believe. So I do 2 days for big pork. For pork loin, I'll do 2 days. For pork chops, 1 day. But a pork loin roast tends to be a monster. So I do 2. I just actually got much better. I did 1 and I did 2. I did kind of experiments while I was on keto. Because I would make them a lot during the winter. And I found that 2 days was much better flavor for those thick pork loin roasts. Not a tenderloin, but a pork loin roast. Reintegrating your running, yeah. Oh, that's pretty much me too, Kariniko. Yeah, boom, fist bump. All that matters, all I want from it is that it gets my heart rate up into the fitness building, into the cardio fitness building range, so that my resting heart rate goes down. And when my resting heart rate goes down, I sleep better. And that's really, like, for me, it's all about the search for sleep. Nice, Inara. Yeah, you just don't, you didn't do 2 days, yeah. I don't know. I did, in the oven, I guess, I bet the smoker does add a bit more, though, as far as flavor. I definitely noticed that 2 days was better when I'm ovening it, which is what I typically do, because I don't have a smoker. I found that 2 days in the brine was better, but yeah. But then again, I was also on keto, and I was upping my salt intake because of that, so everybody's got personal tastes about that stuff, I bet. I usually do an herbe de Provence rub after I do the dry brine, and then I do a honey glaze on the top at the end. Yeah, my dad is like that. He walks a lot every day, like immense amounts of walking. My mom and I make fun of him, though, because, like, he'll walk, like, for hours. But then he'll, like, get in his car, and if he goes to the store, he has to park close. And he'll sit there looking for a parking place that's closer. And we're like, you walk 6 miles a day. Why are you looking for a parking place? Why don't you just walk across the parking lot? We're just like, it baffles us. It baffles us. Oh no, snowing. Wants to give you a white Easter. And for our European viewers, remember it's daylight savings time here in the USA as of Sunday. So we will be an hour off. We're turning the clock back an hour. Or no, sorry, we're turning the clock forward an hour. We're losing an hour. My problem. My apologies. I'm a dummy. So we are going to be an hour later here. Spring forward. And we can all blame the House of Representatives for that. I'm going to block in my shadows first, I think. Maybe I'll do the sleeves. But so that's giving us a nice little bit of just, I don't want to have a hit you in the face kind of gold on this one, as you can tell. I'm not looking for severe bling like on this lady. I really wanted to smack you with it. Like her gold shows up. It's very blingy. This guy I want to go more subtle. I'm not popping my highlights quite as much. Because I don't want the gold to be brighter than his fur and his cream. I don't want to fight with that, so I'm keeping it a little darker. It helps that we've got that texture too. Yeah, I'm sorry, Karniko. Cycle for 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, waiting for a good spot to open, and it's like, please just park. Right. We can blame Ben Franklin. Okay, yeah. There we go, missed him. You're right. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, it's on tonight. It's next week. It starts Sunday. Yeah. Sorry. I don't want to confuse people, but it's coming up, so be ready. Be ready, everyone. I'm just always shocked that it's so early now. Oh yeah, the rain is big drops. I'm like, Kiki's gonna get a short walk. I'm gonna have to wear my raincoat. David likes the umbrella, but I just take my raincoat. I don't want to have to juggle another thing when I'm trying to keep Kiki from being Kiki. Yeah, sorry, not today. Yeah, no, it's not today. It's Sunday. Changes on Sunday. That's when I have my writing club. Maybe I'll go to lunch with my writing club this week. Usually I don't. Usually I go home and eat lunch with David, but maybe I'll abandon him this week. It's been a long time since I did lunch with my writing club. I don't have a paint club on the weekend anymore, but I have a write club every other weekend. Yeah, so you only get 1 week of it then, Quindy, or Cornico. 1 week of the crazy time. The sleeves get really condensed here, so it's more like 2 instead of 3 lines. So I'm just doing those 2. All right, a little bit of reflection there. It's Justin. Cool, Cornico. Very nice. Yes, bask in that warm glow. Bask, bask, bask. Pretend you were a cat. Probably not far off. Your cats probably think you're a cat. Just a very large cat. Of course Quindy's right. She's Queen Quindy. Her suppositions are not suppositions, they are facts. as Bug Lips face palms at me for saying that in public. Useless at hunting cat. There are many cats that are useless at hunting. I do not think that you are a minority in the cat population. It just means your cats get to feel like good for taking care of you. That's all. When they get to bring you prey. They're like, here. You poor thing with no claws. Although you probably would rather they didn't. At least not birds. Hey, I can't help if I've joined the cult of Quindy. You take care of me. You're taking care of me for years now. You keep the trolls at bay. You and Trash. And I don't have to take my attention off to, like, do it. Plus, you make sure everybody plays nice. And you answer tons of questions. And you have magical link knowledge. I mean, come on. And I haven't even, like, probably exhausted all the things that you do. Oh, yeah, you make sure that all the VODs go up. Aw. Thanks, Quindy. I try to be low maintenance. It's getting there, Commander Salamander. He's getting there. We're just kind of breaking down the gold today. Part of it. I finished up the feather earlier. We did the fur last week. Last time we had him, and the cream. So yeah, we're getting there. We're just slowly progressing, kind of putting him together. A lot of him's still base coated. I need to put more highlights and shadows on the green. The indigo's not touched yet, and the leather's not touched. So there's a lot to do. He's a nice model, though. I mean, Bobby Jackson stuff pretty much paints itself at this point, so it's all but. Like, if you want the self-painting model, just pick up Bobby's newest. Yeah, the Quindy Carry. That's it. We've got the Quindy Carry. To share, Kuniko. Well, obviously you're not totally useless at hunting then. It's just that you didn't share. It's like, what are you doing, cat? Right? Yeah, right. Why do I have to trap the animal in our house? Why are you not doing your job? Yeah. I get that. My cat that was totally useless at hunting was my Abyssinian, Ishtar. I loved her to death, though. She was so cute about it. She would just follow the animals. She's the one who found a bat after Halloween. The bat got tangled up in some of the spider webs, and it was totally bitching her out in its squeaky little voice. And she was just like, I'm like, Ishtar, what are you looking at? And she's just like looked up at me and just kind of looked down at the thing, and there was this bat like all wrapped up. I think it was a fruit bat. It was all wrapped up in old spider webbing, the synthetic stuff. So we got it in a towel and carefully unwrapped it and hung the towel outside of our upper floor window so that it could fly away. Oh, that's funny. I apologize to your cat. Yes. Yeah, Ish never went outside either. She had no interest in it. She just wanted to stay inside with me. But the bat had ventured in. She was always curious about the other things that moved. She just had no urge to kill them. A funny animal. She was my favorite kitty that I owned. She was a very sweet soul. Everybody loved Ish. All of my roommates that I had that existed at the same time frame as Ishtar all really liked her. She's a good cat. Very dog-like cat. Which I think is kind of a trait of Abby's. Yeah, she's a total sweetie. I still have a picture of her somewhere. She was a ruddy colored Abyssinian. I found her at the pound. I got her at a rescue shelter. I don't know who the heck was crazy enough to like throw out a purebred Abyssinian, but they did. And she was maybe only about a year old. Yep, have fun, Crowley. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, for sure, cats that are actually good mousers can be very useful. I'm going to just highlight a little tiny bit up here just to bring out a little detail. Keep it real understated. There we go. May have to kind of blend in these highlights on this edge. Oh no. Eek, Cornico. Obviously, they need to be gifted a new kitten. Yeah, those are very opportunistic mice, for sure. Yeah, they do. Our pest guy, when I first engaged our pest service, they came by and they looked at every aperture in our house that a mouse or other rodent could squeeze through, and told us we were pretty much rodent proof right now, but that we should always keep an eye on things, just in case the cracks got wider with lots of rain or that kind of thing. But right now, all of the places that a rodent could get into our house are too small. Because we have them all over the place around here. I think all big, I know in Texas it was a problem too, but in residential areas where there's a lot of vegetation, they'll live in the hedges and stuff and get into the houses. Even in urban areas. Bye, Thormel. Oh, that's too bad, Yarnara. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your poor kitty rescue. I always feel so sad for the animal. They don't know what went on. They don't know what happened. That edge is a little rough, so I had to spend a little extra time. Doot. Doot. I had to put a bunch of my new minis away because I was feeling that overwhelmed feeling that when I have too many projects sitting out. So I had to put away my new Faraway Sea stuff, almost all of it, because I kept staring at the models that are sitting on my desk right now going, Ugh. I just haven't been making a lot of time for painting recently because I've been working so hard on my writing stuff, and I've been playing Overwatch with David in the evenings just to relax instead of painting. I ended up using Torchlight today. It's rich leather for the mid because that's what I used on the base coat. I could tell from the color because it was lighter, my base coat here. That's definitely that color. I ended up mixing it with Torchlight, which is a fast palette color. It's very close to Sun Yellow though, so if you wanted to use a color that was close to Torchlight but you didn't have it, you could use Sun. And of course you could use Candlelight. All of those yellows are in the same kind of family. I think Torchlight has a little bit more ochre in it, or oxide. I'll just go through cycles, Zachariah. I know for me, like if I have other stresses or I'm working really hard on a project that's not painting related, I just won't paint in the evenings until that project or stressor resolves, and then I'll go back to doing it. But lately I'm realizing that I also haven't had this much time in the evenings because I've started doing a longer walk in the evening. And it just seems like, I don't know, like if our dinner goes too late, then I only have time to walk, and then I will have an hour to spend, right? And most often I want to do something with David, and so we'll play Overwatch or whatever. So, whereas if I have 2 hours, if we get done with dinner early and I can take my walk and have 2 hours, then I can paint for an hour and still play Overwatch. But yeah, it's very much just kind of how our evenings have been going lately. We've been cooking stuff more that's more intensive. Oh, nice. Yay, Inara. Super. Yeah, ReaperCon circa 2006, huh? Well, good. That's good. Yay, Paint Club. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yawnies. Yeah, I can definitely see I can need more sleep. So yeah, I'll do these little bits too. I guess we're about there, but I'll try to get these bottom parts done so we can at least get a lot of the gold done down here on these edges. The edges are kind of a pain in the butt, so. Yeah, and this is really compressed, so I'm gonna have to be real careful. I might only be able to do this center part. When these get so skinny, that's when you maybe just kind of go and paint the whole thing, and you're like, you know what? I guess I could just do just 2 lines instead of 3. It's just really close. Yeah, spending like it is different, though. I'll tell you, Zachariah, I actually always got a lot more done painting with people. Like, I like paint time alone, just because I could put on my tunes and, sing along and do all that kind of thing. But I got a lot done at Paint Club. It's kind of like, it's the same with my writing, where it's like, if I'm writing at home alone, that's nice and relaxing, and I can get, like, really in the zone in my own head. But, like, if I'm at Paint Club, I actually sit down and all I do, I just write, and I'm very productive when I'm there. The right club, rather. Yeah, I mean, you can use almost any yellow as the highlight for gold. But yeah, it's rich leather base, and then yeah, I always had to start one. Wherever I moved, I started a paint club. If you have a local gaming store, then that makes it easier, because you can, if they have room, if they have a table or two, then sometimes you can ask them if you can use it for that, and they'll be okay with it. So I'd always roam about until I found a store that had the room and the interest. And of course, with Reaper, they just let me do it in the break room. So I was using a local store before Reaper built their new factory. But it also works to paint online with people. Like, that's the same kind of thing. If you have a chat room online that you can all just sit in and paint with friends, that's cool too. Because it keeps you sitting, and it gives you something to engage with while you're painting. And a lot of people started doing that during the pandemic, but it's just as effective now that we don't have the pandemic. Oh noes. I lost my brush. I must reclaim it. Shove it over to where I can grab it. Kiki's been really quiet. She must be napping. 30 minutes each way, yeah. Yeah, in that case, like, it's only worth it if there are people you really enjoy spending time with, right, Nara? Because, like, I would do that maybe once a month. You know, if it was people I really liked to hang out with, that would still be fun. But yeah, I can see how it would be a bit much. Just trying to smooth out this bottom part. Yeah. Yeah, when you've got a proper con, that makes sense. A little bit of a shiny on the edge here. There we go. A little bit more, and then we can stop it. Yep, Karniko, that's exactly what I experienced also. And working at the company is the same way. You can't really bring in any other company's figure, no matter how cool. Yep. That's why it was so refreshing when I went to work at Reaper, and Reaper didn't have that attitude. It was very different from Games Workshop. There we go. A little bit better and a little bit more there. There we are. So we got everything on the front except for the sword here, as far as that gold goes. So it's oh, and the hat, the gemstone stuff. But it's time. It's time for me to call the vet and find out if they got the lab work back. Yeah, I hear you, Cornico. But you know what? GW never, like, they just don't get it. They don't get it. Like, there's so much they don't get. Oh yeah. Well, they can't really say that one. And if they told you that, like, at all, like, within... If it was 20 years ago that this happened, then they needed to bite their freaking tongue because the head of their heavy metal paint team at GWHQ was female. Yeah. But that's the kind of environment... That's why there aren't a lot of European female mini painters, right? As far as big names go. Is that attitude. Like, I haven't gone right out and told that to the European guys who I've asked about it, but I always, whenever I meet a European or Asian painter, I'm just like, so how many female painters are in your painting community? And they're always like, oh, there really aren't any, maybe one or two, you know. And then my brain kind of is going, yeah, because of the attitude. No, it's the attitude. It absolutely is. Like, what girl is going to put up with that? When you've got so many hobbies that you could join that are really welcoming, why would you stay in the one unless you were really into it and you had the confidence that you're just like, you know what, screw these guys, right? But most women aren't gonna, like, why would they stay? Like, that's why we've got so many here in the US, and now thankfully, since, you know, we're doing streaming and stuff, there are a lot of female mini painters streaming, so we're getting a few more. But yeah, like, when you get that kind of crap thrown at you, why would you stay in the hobby? Like, that's not, I could go on and on and on. But yeah, it totally is. It's the lack of welcome. And that's double bad when they aren't encouraging you to stay to teach young people, because having a female painter teaching gives permission psychological permission to younger girls to learn. But, you know. Yep. Yep. Same thing. Yep. Agreed, Agent Marvel. It's yet another stupid. Yeah. They've always been kind of toxic, but there's some good people out there too. I mean, I had the Golden Demon winning crowd, like the Golden Demon crowd that I used to hang with. There were some really good guys in that crowd. Like, so there are some good people, but unfortunately then the toxic lands on everybody, and then the good people are just like, yeah, I'm not even going to interact with the toxic, right? Yeah, it's hard to change. Yep, because it's culture, right? It's corporate culture, and it's corporate culture in GW that has traveled into the hobby, and now the hobby has its own corporate culture. And unfortunately, it's the type of culture that sustains itself. Because somebody new comes in, and they see people getting treated X way, and that's the way everybody else seems to be engaging, and so they start doing it too. So I would say almost impossible to change without like a really respected figure coming in and just top down going, we're not going to do this crap anymore, you guys. And if you don't like it, leave. Right? So, but even then it'd take ages. It'd take a long time to shift the culture away from that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Toxic people, louder, more vocal, type more, troll more. Yep. Well, I mean, that's the crap that Blizzard had, right? That they're trying now to change by firing a bunch of people and doing all that. But yeah, it's that culture. It is toxic. But it is hard. It's hard to change it, right? I mean, not the same thing, but yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, the good people turn away when they run into it, and then they make their own group, right? Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's sad. I mean, that's why there was that stuff with the science fiction and fantasy, the Hugo Awards a while back, right? Where some authors who were really anti-female, anti-minority, anti-everything like that tried to game the Hugos and somewhat succeeded. But it's in the gaming nerdy culture. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're right, Quindy. It's time. But you know what? Let's just end on a good note. There are also amazing people in our culture. Our culture is also really welcoming and really warm and really accepting. So let us not get hung up. Let us not follow our little human brain psychology and get hung up on the bad crap and end up feeling bad. Also remember that gamers are some of the most accepting and awesome people in the world. All right? Fix that in your human brain and dwell upon it. All right, Quindy, thank you so much for being the cat herder today. And yeah, and I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we will, hey, it's yellow. It's yellow day, guys. It's yellow day. Yay, it's yellow day. So we'll be working on I finished the gold for the most part, I think. I missed some of it. But we'll work on maybe the mace and the leather, and maybe I'll think about what we might want to do on the back. Yep. It's yellow day. I love yellow day. Yes. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have a great one. I'm going to run off and phone Kiki's vet. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.